What is social shaming? Why is it a problem? And how can it be challenged through RSE? Social shaming is something that people do to each other when they think that a person or a group of people are doing something wrong, or are wrong as people somehow. This can sometimes be because of internal struggles that the person doing the shaming is having. Maybe they feel different, confused, threatened, or ashamed in themselves. There is therefore a difference between the act of shaming someone else and the feeling of shame that people may carry internally. Internal feelings of shame may be because someone has been shamed by other people, or it might cause them to go on to shame others as a way of projecting or externalizing their own negative feelings, although not all people who feel shame will do this. Shaming someone can involve criticizing them directly or behind their back, spreading rumors or gossip, or excluding someone, or otherwise trying to punish them, embarrass them, or make them feel bad. It can happen in the classroom in RSE if someone is judged negatively for who they are or an experience they've had in connection with a topic. Sometimes pupils may feel insecure themselves, or they may think that there is just one right way to be, to behave, or to think, and may shame other pupils who express something different, perhaps at the time in the classroom, or maybe later on, for example in the playground. It may make the person doing the shaming feel good or powerful in the moment, but the shaming can be damaging to individuals, groups of people, and society as a whole. In the classroom, it can prevent a full and open discussion about different perspectives and ideas. It can make pupils feel inhibited from expressing themselves and may cause them to lose the ability or willingness to be themselves in life beyond the classroom. These judgments about what is right and wrong can also sometimes be based on stereotypes or inequalities. There can be double standards in how people judge and shame each other. Some people may be more likely to be shamed for certain behaviours than others, and unfairness can result. Or people may be shamed for seemingly different or opposite things, which can make them feel like they can't win whatever they do. Let's see how this works in the example of the slut-shaming of girls. There is a belief in society that has been around for a long time that it is bad if girls act sexually or express themselves sexually, whereas boys tend not to be judged as harshly for this. This is an example of a double standard or an inequality. If people judge a girl to be doing something wrong in these regards, then sometimes they may shame that girl, and this is called slut-shaming. This can happen online. For example, if a boy asks a girl for a nude image and she sends one and people find out, they might judge her negatively, call her names, exclude her, and so on. As a result, girls are often told that they shouldn't share nudes because otherwise they risk being judged and shamed. But this example also illustrates the idea that sometimes people can't win either way. Girls who share nudes can be shamed, but those who say no can be called frigid or a prude. Sometimes it's other girls doing the shaming. This may seem surprising, but it isn't if we think about how people can feel powerful in the moment when they shame someone else. But does all this even have to happen? In RSE, the teacher could encourage pupils to think about whether shaming is fair. Pupils might say, no, it isn't fair, but it isn't going to change, which means it might just carry on. Teachers could challenge this and help pupils decide to stop and think the next time they or someone else judges or shames someone. Pupils could be asked to think about the different things that they shame and judge each other for, and how else they could think about these things. Instead of externalizing their difficulties, pupils could be encouraged to practice self-reflection. They could be shown how giving people an equal right to be themselves is actually helpful to everyone in the end, and may help to address some of the internal insecurities, confusion, and shame that may cause someone to judge and be cruel to someone else. RSE could also involve discussing the wider peer group in pupils' lives, not just the person or people directly doing the shaming and those on the receiving end. Often when someone shames a person or a group of people in public, they expect others to agree and join in. Instead, pupils could be encouraged to refuse to join in, and in turn, to not reward the shaming behaviour. This may help challenge some of the cultural norms that impact on how young people treat one another. It is then helpful also to explore the different ways in which pupils can resist and stand up against unfair practices, and how they can support people that might be subject to shaming. Pupils may say that they stand up for each other, call out judgment and shame, or try to support people that they know who have been shamed, which are all positive reactions. But it is also important to consider how sometimes calling people out can just lead to more arguments and division, and the different ways in which this can be done safely and effectively, but also fairly, so not just standing up for our friends, but anyone who is treated badly. Pupils could then talk about the issues that they see unfolding in the peer group together in RSE. If they see behaviour that troubles them in the peer group, rather than just disagreeing with each other and becoming more divided, the RSE classroom could become a safe space for talking about what's happened and for pupils to learn and perhaps change their perspectives. And maybe some pupils will still think that judgment and shaming are just a part of life. But is that true? They could be asked to think about things that people used to judge and shame each other for in the past, but are now no longer seen as a big deal. If that change can happen, then so can more change.